Hey everyone, welcome back to Optimize Ebony. I wanted to talk to you guys today about kind of continuing on with the siege track, since that's interesting to a lot of people. And since we talked about big siege versus small siege, or T11 uh, being small siege and big siege being T13, T14 heavy. Um, I wanted to kind of talk about how you would actually build your general and your gear specifically for uh, optimizing for one of those types. So, and this is going to be specifically useful if your alliance really only does T11 siege or small siege rallies, or if they pretty much only do uh, big siege, then you can kind of optimize. Or a lot of the kind of the top players will have two siege gens, or will switch the ordering of their siege gens based on what they're actually attacking with. So they'll have essentially two sets, one for small siege and one for big siege, and they're built completely differently. And so I'll kind of get into that. Um, so in my other refining video, I talked about how you pretty much always want percentages. You always want high percentages. You want to get as close to 25% for arcade gear for the troop type that you're looking for, or 30% for the civ gear if you have civ gear, and uh, siege is a little bit different, particularly if you're looking for small siege. And so I will preface this. I actually am looking for small siege on this account. This account is not does not have a ton of troops, and so I want to try and optimize the troops that I have, and be able to join some small siege rallies to be able to kind of take out some of the siege for the opponent. And my alliance does primarily small siege at this point. Our siege buffs aren't quite good enough, and we don't have quite a big enough rally to do kind of a full big siege rally. And people just quite frankly don't have the troops that they need to be able to send multiple big siege rallies and still have enough to kind of defend themselves. Because it's one thing to send a big siege rally and take a good chunk out of an opponent, but if you're crippling your defense to do that, that's not a smart play. So back into the kind of the refining aspects of it, uh, a lot of you have probably guessed. Uh, you're going to be refining these differently. For small siege, you're going to try and do the flat refines, and that's what these like pure number refines are. The ones that don't have the percentage, those are called flat refines, and flat refines are are just modifying on the base attributes of the troop. So let's look at the siege. Um, I'll look at T11 siege because that's what I'm primarily saying. Um, and so like uh, these flat refines will just add whatever that number 400, 500 straight to this number here, this attack number, for that particular piece that I was looking at. And what's nice about this is that it scales way better for uh, the lower level tiers. So um, for T11, it makes sense to do flat refines because it scales better for T11s. But for T13s, T14s, let's kind of look at them. I don't have T14s unlocked here, but if we're doing 400 flat refines here, that's way less of a percentage than it is on the T11s. And so on for the higher level troops, and this is true in general for all troop types, the percentages will scale better for the higher level tiers. So T13s, T14s, even T12s are better with the percentages, and obviously T15s. And then kind of below that is better with the flat refines. The other thing that people say is that the flat refines can't be debuffed. I'm honestly not sure if that's true. It's impossible to actually prove that, since they only really give you um, the percentage buffs. They don't actually give you kind of the core base stats. So yeah, so let's look at these refines. Right now, I have some okay siege refines here. 19.1%, 7.5%. Nothing super great. Nothing that I would really be looking to keep. Again, you're looking to get as close to 25 if you're looking for percentages. And so that would be really, I want to get above 20, especially for the first one. I have plenty of gold, plenty of refined stones here. I'm going to just spin until I get something better. But for this one, I'm looking for T11 Siege. So I'm actually going to accept this flat refine here, 458. I could get a little bit better, but I spent a long time refining on this, and this is good enough. And I kind of wanted to show this in the video, so I'm actually going to accept that 458 siege machine attack, and kind of keep refining here. Probably not actually going to get anything here. I have limited gems at the moment, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, so because I'm going for T11 Siege again, I am looking for flat refines. I'm looking for these flat refines without the percentage. If I'm actually looking for T13, T14 big siege hits, you absolutely want to use those percentages. So you want to get as close to 25, or if you're on um, the Civ Gear, 30%, and that's going to help a ton. Uh, Another thing to note with the Civ Gear, some of you have probably noticed this already, but the Civ Gear itself uh, does not increase the flat percentage, or the flat buffs that you can get. So let's say for Siege Machine Attack, it's still capped out at 513 for the Civ Gear, but the percentage goes up by 5%. So the percentage can go up to 30% instead of 25%. So really, I would say it doesn't really make a ton of sense to refine Civ Gear for flat numbers, unless you're really, really targeted on T11 Siege. And even then, like with the increased buff, the difference goes down significantly, and you can it kind of makes sense to you to do percentage refines on Civ Gear, just because then for your Siege Gear it's a little bit more versatile. You can use it for both. Um, Oops, it looks like I'm out of gems there. So that's it for refining for me. But if you do percents on your Civ Gear for Siege, it leaves you the opportunity to use that for either T11s or for big Siege, and you lose a little bit on the small Siege, but it's really not, in my opinion, worth refining another set for that. So yeah, quick recap: flat refines for T11 or small siege hits, uh, percentage refines for big siege, and just in general, that's a good rule for other troop types. Other troop types, I wouldn't really recommend refining flats unless you're trying to do something very specific, like you're trying to hit with lower level troops and take out more power and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, I I hope I kind of explained this okay for the refining. Obviously, I have a lot more work to do on this gear, and I need a lot more gems on this account. Um, and need to level up the gen, and do a bunch more here. But uh, besides that point, I'm starting to try and work on the siege buffs on this account. Be able to join some siege rallies with it and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, that's kind of the main difference in how you would build your refines for big siege versus small siege. And yeah, trying to optimize that. So, thanks for watching, everyone. As always, please remember to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton.